Welcome to the first annual Smart Home Awards, where you, the buyers of smart home products themselves, have decided the winners for what is sure to be one of the industry's most prestigious award shows. That's because I'll not only hand out awards like the Best Smart Speaker of 2021, but also awards like the You Think We're Made of Money award. So we're going to have some fun while we tell the industry truly what you automators think of the different products available today. Hello automators, thanks for tuning in again. I'm Brian from Automate Your Life, and I'm excited to start a new tradition here on Automate Your Life. And we had a ton of votes, as I think people really enjoyed the idea of being able to come together and tell these companies what we think of their offerings. As this is the first award show, I'd love to hear your ideas for next edition down in the comments below, so drop me a line. I think that most of us started our journey in the smart home with smart lighting because it was fun and exciting to change up how our homes looked with relatively minimal effort. And for me, this part of the industry has always been led by Philips Hue. LED. Get it? They have always had relatively innovative smart lighting, and to me it always looks great even if Paul hates them. So to say that somebody's lighting is better than Hue is a serious compliment, and I think it means it will be a popular product for years to come. With entrants from Govee, Nanoleaf, Onvis, Fight Electric, and I even allowed Philips Hue to have one product in the mix, which is probably not appropriate given the name of the award, but I did it because I get to do those things, and the Samira looks great. I love the innovation of Govee this year, and I think Nanoleaf has truly become an industry leader with their attention to thread, even if it's not all perfect and very expensive. I love the introduction of these quote-unquote filament bulbs throughout our lighting too, but who did you pick? And the winner is the Govee Lyra with its incredible DIY effect feature, tons of scene lighting options, and what are the nicest looking stands in this category? A remote, an easy app, strong connectivity options, and a decent price point. And I'd say in general that Govee has put a lot of other lighting companies on notice this year with products like the Glide, which came in third in voting. After we got that fancy lighting in our home, we probably all realized that you couldn't do that much with that fancy lighting without opening up an application on your phone, and we didn't want to do that every time, or at least I didn't. And that's where sensors become so important, and it's always been a focus of mine because if you can't sense it, then you can't automate it. So I loved seeing what came out in 2021 with companies creating these innovative and in many cases relatively inexpensive sensors that allow us to bring more information into our decision making for our smart homes. Here I had entrants from Zeus, Shelly, Akara, Yolink, Switchbot, and even Amazon, and you guys made a very clear and I think obvious choice. The Switchbot contact sensor took contact sensors to another level because of its ability to sense your door status, motion around the sensor, the lighting level, and it even contained a little push button to trigger automation with your other Switchbot gear. Now I hope next year we see the motion and the lighting sensors make it out to Amazon and Google voice assistants, and we see an improvement in the SmartThings integration for the whole Switchbot platform. But this sensor on its own put other companies on notice that a simple contact sensor isn't enough anymore, and I love seeing that, and apparently so do you. Smart speakers are one of my favorite classes of device because I think the sky's the limit and companies are still figuring out what they can and can't do with these. We started out with an idea of asking our speakers to play music or to play the radio, and it has truly evolved into something much more important. This year we gained a smart speaker that rotates, one that measures our sleep patterns and upgrades on existing speakers that bring features that make these truly useful devices in our homes. The winner is the Amazon Echo Show 10 with its automatically rotating display, solid camera, and the best all-around speaker system from Amazon. This is clearly a winning device, and I know I've enjoyed this one myself, so I get why you guys picked it over everything else released this year. But sometimes when you take the word new out of a category, you find out something really interesting. So I decided with the next three categories that I would include both older products and newer products in the voting to see what you would say. For the best overall smart display, I added displays like the Google Nest Hub Max, the Echo Show 15, and the Echo Show 5. And I think as more people use the Echo Show 15, this voting might be different next year. But for now, our winner was the Google Nest Home Max with its massive smart display screen, great sounding speakers, onboard Nest security camera, the Google Assistant, and an amazing smart home and connected living interface. Streaming sticks are a class of device that I think are being seriously underutilized and heavily underdesigned. This is a market that's headed for cheap and easy, and I think we're missing a real opportunity with these. This year we didn't see a lot of innovation or even a lot of releases, and I think again it's interesting that the voting came out to be something older than a 2021 release date. It's also very interesting to me that Google again wins first place in a category for a device that's a little longer in the proverbial tooth. But the Google Chromecast with Google TV was a clear favorite, and I can't argue with the fact that it's the best interface for streaming devices. But my hope is that streaming sticks turn our biggest screens into some of the most powerful screens in the coming years, and I think again, this is an opportunity being heavily missed right now. The Smart Home Hub is at an interesting spot in its life cycle. With the Matter standard starting to get rolled out in 2022, I think many companies that are creating those more traditional smart home hubs with Zigbee and Z-Wave will start to find diminished use cases. That is, unless they upgrade to being compatible with Matter and therefore bridge the gap between what I will call the old smart home and the new coming smart home. But that's just my thought, and of course you are the buyer, so I gave you options with hubs that are ready for Matter already and hubs that will probably never even look at Matter compatibility. I even gave you an option for a hub that isn't available yet, with Home Assistant Yellow being on the list. So, the hub that you can't buy, and the hub that we have no real hardware experience with, is the one that won. That's right, Home Assistant Yellow won. This is a great step for a platform that's doing a lot of things right. Home Assistant features local and therefore private control, some of the most advanced interfaces, and definitely the most advanced opportunities for automation on what is a great overall software platform. But my little piece of editorial around this is that the hub itself has about 2,800 backers and hasn't been delivered, so we don't know how the physical hardware will perform over the long term, and with competitors like SmartThings with 60 million users and Amazon Echoes in the millions, this likely won't be a major smart home hub in 2022. And I think that Home Assistant and Nabu Casa need to partner with a company like Sonos, and I've even heard there were some discussions around this idea. That's a match made in heaven from my point of view, because it would push hardware reliability to a very high level, attach the hub to an amazing smart speaker, and force the platform to become much more user-friendly. In what is definitely the longest name on any award I've ever seen given out, we needed to focus on products that make us healthier, and I think that's one of the real big benefits of smart technology, or at least in theory. Many of the products sold today miss the mark and don't actually help us become healthier people. So I gave you the option to pick the one in the industry, and I think the results weren't very surprising. The Apple Watch almost had 40% of the popular vote, and my personal experience with this is when attached to Apple Health and when left on your arm for a long period of time, you start to get really beneficial results from following recommendations on the Apple Watch and from paying attention to the data you have. I do think that there are other products that give us more direct information, so I think Apple, in order to maintain this lead, needs to give us a few more graphs and a few more data points in the coming years. In general, I try not to be negative about the smart home industry because there are a lot of great things happening, and I think we have enough negativity in our lives. But one of the requests I've been getting as of late is that I showcase what these products can't do for us. So the next few awards that I'm going to give out were voted in as the worst of something or the most disappointing in a way. The most disappointing new product of 2021 included options from Amazon, SwitchBot, Apple, Nanoleaf, Wyze, Logitech, and Philips Hue. But what was funny was that you guys added a ton of options, and I guess I should have expected that. Still, there was a really clear winner, and this winner actually won 2 awards for the same mistakenly marketed product. The Wyze car was really cool to look at, and then everyone figured out that it was just a remote-controlled car with a cam on it. So I think a lot of people were disappointed in that and actually found it very useless. So sadly, the Wyze car also won our first award with a swear in the title, as it managed to defeat the very useless tracking devices from both Samsung and Apple. I think what Wyze should do with this information is, first of all, display these awards very prominently on their website, but secondly, they should look at a redesign of this, because obviously people wanted something more here, and I think that was a roaming robot with a camera. This next award is a personal grudge, so I made you vote on what is a trend that I personally do not enjoy. That trend is companies that think you're made of money and use branding and marketing strategies to push their pricing through the roof. And I think we all think of Philips Hue, but we had entrants from Nanoleaf, Nest, Apple, and Amazon on this list. You chose what I think is an R&D project in Amazon Astro, and I get why. I think it's based on the frustration of wanting something that can roam around your home and help you, but finding a huge price tag and less features than what you'd hoped for. But this was a true split vote, and it was extremely close, with Nanoleaf lines and the $30 Canadian per line pricing, or the Philips Hue Signy corner lamps, and even the Apple Watch and Nest Cam getting quite a few votes. But let's go back to the positive, and this is where I get to give out my favorite awards. See, I have found personally that the modern lifestyle is filled with too much, and I know there are good things about mowing your own lawn and for me pushing snow off of a driveway, but I also know that my life is so full of lots of different things that I both have to keep track of that, and that interrupts my progress on things like building my business. So I love innovation because it's a means to an end, and I truly want to get to a point in my life where my home and a lot of the meaningless or menial tasks in my life are managed and done not by me. So when we talk about innovation, one of the ways that companies get out their innovation into the world and test whether it's going to be successful and wanted is through a Kickstarter or crowdfunding type of campaign. And we saw amazing crowdfunding campaigns by Flick, Home Assistant, Haxon, Yeo, and Sonoff all in 2021 on products that solve major issues in your lives. Amazingly, we ended up in a tie for this one, and both Flick Twist and Home Assistant Yellow are very deserving of this award. When we hit 100,000 subscribers on Automate Your Life, I shared part of my story around my ongoing divorce, and while that has been generally very good for me personally, there are things that you look back on and miss. And one of those things was that my ex-wife made an incredible borscht soup. And this purple soup was the stuff of dreams. It's also incredibly cheap. And when we're talking about the combo of cheap and amazing, it's a form of innovation that I think we can all get behind. And the winner of the Cheap Like Borscht Award is the IKEA Trad-Free Motion Sensor. And I think that's partly because it's a $10 motion sensor, but also because it's becoming more useful with things like edge drivers on the SmartThings platform, and because IKEA continues to innovate and build their system without raising the price. But 2021 was an amazing year for innovation, and I think we will continue to see this accelerate in the coming years, especially with the Matter standard, allowing companies to focus more on making their products better and less on the technical aspects of all the different smart home protocols. The good news was that we still had a ton of innovation this year, and I love giving out an award for the most innovative new gadget in 2021. This category had products from Flick, Govee, SwitchBot, Amazon, Wyze, Aqara, Yolink, and Zeus, all of which we have mentioned earlier in today's video. That is because these companies are the ones pushing the boundaries, and I wish I could give them all an award for their product, but the Flick Twist was the clear winner, and only Amazon Astro came close. This is because Flick has given us the next version of smart home control with their latest generation of button. We know it's a button, but we also know it's a dial, and we also know that this product will give us an incredible amount of control in our smart homes and unleash some of those capabilities of things like smart speakers and smart lighting. But this is the Automate Your Life Smart Home Award, so I get to give out one surprise award that you guys didn't vote on. This is called the Automate Your Life Time Creator Award, and it's based on my personal philosophy around the smart home and connected living, and I think that philosophy can be summed up with two statements. Number one, time is something you can never get back, and number two, creating time should be our ultimate goal. Creating time is a confusing statement at first, but when you automate something that you would otherwise have to do in the future, you are truly creating time in your life and therefore infinite possibilities with what you'll do with that time. For me, I want to spend more time with my kid and my family, and I want to spend more time helping you save time in your life. And one of the ways I can do that is to recommend a company that I think epitomizes this opportunity for you in your life. So the nominees are Amazon, with the most comprehensive smart home product offering on the planet and connectivity to just about everything available on the market. Plus, it all comes in a relatively easy application to navigate and strong features that most people around the world can use. Samsung, who moved their platform from hardware to software, their platform from user-based to recommendation-based, and their automation from almost entirely cloud to nearly fully local. This company truly saved my life the most time this year. SwitchBot, who create products that move. There is no product lineup that I talk about on Automate Your Life that helps more people who struggle to move or struggle with daily tasks to accomplish those things. And these folks get it, and they are innovating to create more every year. Aqara, who has quietly built an incredible ecosystem of products that work together easily and simply, but also give us local automation and the ability to create fairly complex automations with what seems like a really easy to use application. And Wyze, who admittedly have struggled the last year, but still continued to produce features and products that solve real world problems. Most of their struggles have been money-based, and I think we have already seen the tide turn with them as their funding has arrived and their new products start to roll out. This year, they truly changed the camera offerings in the market, and I'm not sure even Amazon can compete with the options. This year, I'm giving this award to SwitchBot because their products move physical things, are easy to install and use, are innovative, and are always useful. This is a company that isn't trying to fill their products with features that just distract and drive another revenue source for them either. So I appreciate the fact that they are simply creating automation and time in our lives. I know that they have a huge 2022 plan for us, and I look forward to that as well as the products from the rest of these companies that I talked about today. I also know that there are a ton of changes going on in both the smart home industry and in connected living in general, and I packaged all those up into my list of the top 5 predictions in the video that's on screen now. So go check that out, and you're going to learn a couple of major things hitting your homes in 2022. Otherwise, thanks for watching today and this year, and of course, don't hate, automate.